All right, welcome to the Let's Toast podcast. We are toasting today to online dating. I am Johanna. I'm out here in Seattle, Washington.
I'm Tali, and I'm here in Philly.
And we have a guest today.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, yes. I'm the guest. Thank you guys for having me. My name is Henok. I live in New York. I'm a software engineer. Went to school in Ohio, but I've been in New York for the past 3 years now.
What part of New York are you in?
I'm in the Bronx right now. I used to live in Harlem, just moved here. And yeah.
You like the Bronx better than Harlem?
I love Harlem.
Hey, I got a house here, so it's like, it's more chill. It reminds me of my home state, Ohio. Like Manhattan is too chaotic.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's like very residential.
But there are a lot of Habeshas in Harlem. That's like the Habesha Central. There's a population growing in Brooklyn too, but definitely Harlem is like the main hub.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's accessible to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So, Henok, you came up with a little app, right? That kind of just blew up last year, like right after the pandemic hit. I will say that was perfect timing to drop an online dating app. Do you want to talk a little bit about Jebena?
Yeah, sure. So Jebena, it's the first dating app for Ethiopians and Eritreans. We actually started it in the summer of 2019. So a lot of people think we launched it because of the pandemic, but that was just good timing, fortunate / unfortunate, depending on how you look at it, right? So we launched in April of 2020. So we just passed our first anniversary, and we started matchmaking in mid-May, so like literally a year ago. And we didn't immediately start the matchmaking process because the Habesha community is small, so we needed some kind of like critical mass of users before we can like turn on the engine. Like, otherwise, people are going to sign up and it's just going to be an empty feed. Like, so that was kind of like the initial challenge. But
what do you mean by matchmaking?
So what happened was we launched the app. You can install it from the App Store, Play Store, but you can only create an account. If you go to the homepage, it would tell you like matchmaking hasn't started yet, so you wouldn't start seeing people. And we just had a giant invite button, and you can invite your friends. And I believe it was like 5,000 or 10,000 users. That's when we turned on the matchmaking, and that's when like you start seeing people on your feed.
Got it.
Yeah, it's with like social networks, any type of social network, it's a challenge because you want people to be on the network, but people are not going to be on it unless there are people on it. So it becomes this like vicious chicken and egg type of problem.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, that was the initial challenge. And then after that, the users just become like the ambassadors, basically. They just tell their friends tell their friends.
Mm-hmm.
Take us back to like, when it was like just an idea. Like, what was that like? Like, who were you having a conversation with? How did the idea come about?
Yeah, so this idea has kind of been in the Habesha community for a while. Like some people have tried it before, or some people have posted about it on social media. And but the way this specific project specifically started is my buddy who's behind Salam Central. He used to do this matchmaking Tuesdays on Twitter, right? So he just picks like random people and he just matches them publicly. And it was like so much fun and spontaneous, like people loved it. And one time I remember this one guy who met this girl on Twitter basically met up with her in person, and they recorded a video of them meeting up in person, and the video just blew up, right? And literally the entire comment section was like, someone should create like an app for Habeshas, like a dating app for Habeshas. So like, me and a couple of my friends got together and we like start taking it seriously. We're like, hey, there's like a demand for this. So let's kind of have some kind of plan. And we didn't know like, the journey it takes you. Like, there's like different pivots you make along the way when you're designing a product. But like, it just starts with just saying like, hey, let's just do this. Let's just make it happen. Just taking the first step, because it's easy to get sucked into that like idea phase, and then we're just like, okay, let's not worry about what's going to happen 6 months from now or 12 months. Let's just execute something. And it took about 9 months before it got launched.
So did you build the app yourself, or did you have a contractor do it for you?
No, we built it ourselves. So I'm a software engineer, and my other co-founder is also a software engineer, and the other person, he's a product designer, very passionate about product design. So it was kind of like this perfect match, you know, like the perfect balance of like tech/product growth team. And then another person joined us who's a great tester, like a QA engineer, quality assurance engineer. And it kind of, it was like a great team, you know, like everyone had like, you know, their own specialty, but also we wear different hats. So someday you're talking to customers, someday you're doing this, but the actual software itself, yeah, we built it in-house. That's why it took longer. Like if we were to get a contractor or use some kind of service, it would be quicker, but the challenge with that would be if we wanted to make like small tweaks or something that would match with the Habesha community or something, it would be difficult to kind of do that, right? So even though it takes longer, like building it in-house kind of gives you the leverage to like to make your own modifications, like custom-made modifications.
What are some you know, like obviously we know the name is Jebena now, but what are some of the other names that you've had prior?
And why Jebena?
Actually, I think we had Jebena since the get-go. I can't remember. I think we said like Nile or something at one point, like the Nile River. But it was Jebena from the get-go because we wanted something unique. That's not gonna have like that's gonna give us a unique name when people are searching in search engine, right? And another thing is like, you know, Habesha culture, like coffee is probably what we're known for, like, and it's our greatest contribution to the world, right? You're welcome world. So it's and that's like what you associate with Habesha culture, and every household has Jebena. So it's like the entire Habesha social culture is like surrounded, like is around Jebena. It's like at the epicenter of the social culture. So like, yeah, it's something familiar everyone has, and it's also something that reminds you of like, you know, social and comfort type of thing. So that's why we called it Jebena.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So once, you know, obviously you have it all going now, the next steps that you're taking, also like what does your revenue model look like? How big do you want it to be? Like, do you want to be a Tinder or Bumble, you know, and kind of like just be really big, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, we definitely want it to get, you know, as big as it can be. We're not like super focused on that right now because it's still at the early stages, and our primary focus right now is to basically stabilize our software, make sure, you know, everything is clean, you know, the user experience is nice, that it's professional, actually getting what they want. How the product is going to change in the future, to be honest, but definitely our focus is like, you know, the diaspora community, the Habesha community. Tinder, you mentioned Tinder, right? So in Tinder, you log in, you have like this radius, 5-mile radius, 10-mile radius. We were going to do that initially, but then once we start thinking about it deeper, we're like, that's not going to work for the Habesha community, because what are the odds someone who matched my preference is going to be within few radius? So we created like a custom map, right? We're like, where the hell are the Habeshas? Hey, they're in Seattle, they're in Toronto. So it's like you custom, like you carve them out on the map and you create maps specific for them. So like that's what we're trying to do, is just focusing on the product development and like bringing them the people together, especially, you know, when we're all just all over the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is very unique how, you know, users have the option of, you know, choosing in US only, or, you know, the global spectrum, and also even like the personality traits. You all even added in some, you know, some fun little personality traits. I think it was like Bob, Balahi, and like some other things.
Thank you.
So like in the future, you know, I have a marketing background, so like when I'm thinking about Jebena, it's kind of like you I think about having like a representative maybe like in every country, you know, because I'm originally from Israel. So it's like, you know, in Israel, a lot of the Ethiopians that are there want to date each other, but it's kind of hard even within a country that is so small. You know, you might live in the south and somebody lives in the north, but like people don't necessarily like know about the app so well. So I think that's a great way to like meet people within, you know, that specific country, like Germany, Sweden, places like that, where there is, you know, a large amount of Habesha people. So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's definitely something we're gonna do. We actually started working with like different colleges, having like not it's not a formal program, but some sort of like campus ambassadors, people who basically spread awareness to some of the big universities around the country. But doing that at the national level, that's actually a good idea, because so when we first launched, it was iOS only, and we didn't launch Android until I think November or October of last year. And what we noticed was, as soon as we launched Android is when we became like the most diverse in terms of geography, because initially it was mostly like the US and Canada. And as soon as we launched Android, like that's when we got our Middle Eastern users, our European users, our Australian users, our African users. And so we're a small team, so we can't understand every subculture on like what kind of events people go to or what people do. So having like a country representative, like, yeah, that's definitely like on the roadmap.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. You know, and with you users, you know, following Jebena on Instagram, how do you all find out about these success stories and, you know, relationships that have happened because of the app? Do people like reach back out and tell you, or?
Yeah, they message us, and unfortunately, most people actually don't want us to share them. We get a lot of messages, but I guess the app is only like a year old, so the oldest relationship on the app is gonna be a year, 1 year old. So
we have a friend. No, we have a friend who's in a relationship. They're on about 9 months now. They met on Jebena.
That's amazing. But you see, like it's too early, so people are not gonna like.
Yeah.
People just like yeah. Only the 1%, the very vocal people like sharing. One person in Seattle actually flew to DC to meet up the girl. And she had or he, one of them had their friends record them.
Oh, at the airport, yes.
Yeah, at the airport.
I saw that video.
Yeah, that just made my day. That was so beautiful.
Yeah, no, people are out here. Like I know a lot more people who may not be like in full-blown relationships, but they're like meeting people and like having conversations, you know, and just, you know, going towards that direction.
Yeah. You know, one of my biggest fears was like, it would be like 95% guys and it would be like 5% girls, and the girls are gonna be like super weirded out or something. But one thing I realized is the girls want that just as much as the guys. And not only that, some regions like my region, the US Northeast, there's actually more female users than male. So that just completely blew my mind. I had this, I guess that's like about product development, like what I was saying earlier, like if you focus too much on the idea, you don't know how it's going to change. You make assumptions based on your upbringings or your background, whatever, right? So in my perspective, I just thought it was going to be like a digital bar, you know, there's going to be like 9-to-1 ratio. The girls are not going to be happy, but it's the complete opposite. It's even, and in some regions, there's more female users. Like, what?
Is that like
what region should we move to?
Yeah, what is it like overall on the app? Like, is it 50-50 or?
Yeah, it's very close. It's within like 5% margin of error. It's like 40-45, like 55, or 48-52, something like that. And like I said, in some regions like US Northeast, there's actually more females. And yeah, that's just been interesting. I didn't think.
Are you on the app?
No, I'm not. I'm happily taken.
Did you meet your spouse on the app?
Product. Huh?
Did you meet your spouse on the app?
No, I met her a few months before we launched on the app. Before we launched the app.
Nice.
Yeah. In New York, at a Habesha networking event. So, you know, those networking events, maybe we should start doing those, you know, Jebena sponsored networking events.
Yeah, do you think you'll do that once you know, things kind of go back to normal? Have kind of like not necessarily, I don't like the term networking event when it comes to dating, but like
Yeah, like
and
the dating
event.
type of thing. Yeah. And hopefully it's becoming normalized, because that's one thing I noticed. Like you mentioned, like people sending us videos, for example, right? Like we used to ask people, like, yeah, like, hey, have you met people, or have you met someone? Can you tell us? People were reluctant, but as soon as they see one person, it kind of becomes, there's like this social stamp of approval, and that becomes like normalized. And then the next person is less likely, more likely to do it, and the next person is even more likely to do it. Just as just the same as joining the app, because like I was saying earlier, like I have some female friends all over the country that I used to ask, like, hey, can you try the app, and you can let us know if you like it, because like our idea was like, if we can market to the females first, and if they really like it, then the guys are naturally going to follow them, right? So a lot of them would say like, no, like, I appreciate you and I would like, support some other way, but this is not for me, right? And then fast forward like a year or something, those same people are like the most active users, like they love it, and they just like,
oh my god.
So it's the social, like social proof, like that's the phrase I'm looking for. You see your friend do it, then it's like normalized.
Yeah, social norms definitely change. I mean, if you think about online dating in general, when like Tinder first came on the scene, and like back in, when was it, like 2012, 2011, it was like, what? Like, you're on Tinder? Like, how weird. And now it's like a part of everybody's phone,
Yeah, exactly. It's like just like Facebook or Instagram.
So in terms of like Jebena and just kind of how folks are like meeting and networking, what do you say to critics, or sometimes may have glitches and technical difficulties with the app? What is your response to those users?
Yeah, so we like, that's how we what do you call it, how we find a lot of like feedback in real time. Like we like marketing on social media and stuff. We don't have like some marketing firm or third party that does that for us. Like talking to the people directly is like the best way to get like the most authentic feedback. So if there's glitches or issues, or the app is crashing, or it's not working the way it's supposed to on certain devices or operating system, that's definitely like how we interact with people, and we try to respond to them as soon as we can. And we try to have like as many releases as possible, like updates, especially on Android, because the challenge with Android is it's the most diverse operating system. Like with iOS, like both the software and the hardware is developed by Apple, so it's like a closed system, so it's easy. But Android, there's literally like thousands of devices all over the world, so we've encountered issues we couldn't even like anticipate early on. So a lot of people will face that, and then like we start with the most popular brands of Android, like Samsung, Google Pixel phones, and then we kind of just move to the other devices. But yeah, it's definitely like a huge forest, like the Android market, and that's from technical perspective, that's probably the most challenging right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of apps when they first launch are like iOS only, and then they bring on Android later.
Yeah, exactly. It's easier to just start with one thing, perfect that, and then scale up, than like trying to do too many things at the same time, because you're gonna get burnt out.
Yeah.
You know how a lot of the dating like apps will have different algorithms where you can kind of like, I saw this thing about Tinder, how like if you first come on Tinder, like the first person that they show you is like really attractive, so you swipe right or whatever, but the second person is actually a person that has already swiped right on you. And I've tried it before in the past, and that is actually true. Like that's how their algorithm works. Also with what's it called? What's the purple one? The purple
Hinge.
Yeah, Hinge. I don't know why I think of them as colors in my head.
Yeah, I was like, Hinge is black. I
don't know.
Yeah, I think Bumble's blue. Is it? Yeah.
No, Bumble's yellow.
It's yellow. Oh,
Tinder's red. Hinge is
you guys have different colors in your head.
I
was gonna say HBO Max as soon as I heard purple. I was like, this purple app? I don't know anyone besides HBO.
No, on Hinge, like it seems like the algorithm really pushes you to pay, because you know there isn't many swipes. It just doesn't seem, I don't know. It seems like they just want you to pay. It doesn't seem like an app that like they're like the other apps. I don't know. So do you have any like specific algorithm that you use to match people, or is it just kind of like a free for all going down the line?
Yeah, so like those are great examples that you mentioned. Each app has like different way of like I guess aggregating users depending on how many users it has or what kind of market it's tapping into. So like the Tinder model is like it's a volume business. You have millions and millions of users, so you have unlimited feed, unlimited number of users, and so ours it's more on the Hinge side where it's we focus on like the quality over quantity. We only show you 10 people a day, and those 10 people are people we think will like be the perfect match for you. So that's, you know,
How do
based
you
on
know that would be the perfect
yeah,
match?
so that's based on, I can't go into every specific thing, but it's based on your location, your age, your gender, your interactions, those sort of things, right? So that's why like we limited it. If we had like, you know, millions of users, we would have like a higher cap. So then it would be like a you would see more users and you would get more. And but in this case, it's just short bite, and part of the challenge is also the Habesha community is just too small and too decentralized. So it takes time for us to like, we don't want to just show you 10 random people. We want to show you the 10 people that are similar to you. So based on all of the stuff you've entered on your profile, you know, we have a lot of things we ask you there, right? And then we filter out the 10 people that we think like will be the perfect match for you. And we have two feeds, right? We have the main home feed, and then we have the like by feed, which is like people who've been liking you. And the difference between those two is like in the like by feed, it's like they don't necessarily have to match your preferences, right? They may, if they match your preferences, they come first in the feed, right? So it's sorted from people who are likely to meet you to like people like who are less likely to meet you, and it's sorted that way. So we have two feeds, like it's two options for you. So you get your 10 people a day, and then if you're just like chilling and you're like, oh, I wonder who's been checking me out, and then you just go to that feed and you see those people.
Which I feel like you guys have updated that since like I've started using it maybe a year ago. Because in the past I would get so frustrated that I would see who liked me and they were like, I don't know, 24, and I was like, what the fuck? I just used my one like matching thing. Like I was like so annoyed. I think I emailed you guys about that, but I think now it says like this is person's in your preference or something like that. So then you're like, okay, I'll use my one.
Yeah.
What the hell it's called? I don't know. The one thing that you get to see.
Unlock, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because people, you know, we get the feedback from people. They want to know that ahead of time. You know, if you're going to pay for it, you want to know who you're about to see, right? You don't need to see their face, but you need to see.
Especially if there's somebody younger, you know, the age specific, you know, the age is like,
yeah,
you know, I'm 30. I'm not about to talk to somebody that's 25, 24. That's weird, you know? So,
yeah. Yeah, we introduced that notification. We also like the sorting. We didn't have that when we first launched. So, you know, the people who most likely to match you are like on the left side. And then as you scroll, it's like the people who are less likely to match with you.
And so can you, on the likes and hearts, can you talk about like the different price packages that, you know, people can like purchase?
Yeah, I don't actually know them top of my head, but so we have like the 25 package, the 10 package, 25 and 40 if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we have 25 package, the 10 package, and the 40. And what that means is just, you know, we have two products, right? So we have the unlocking product and the hearting product. So the hearting, just like you see in a lot of dating, I think Tinder calls it super swipe, and Bumble calls it like super like or something like that. It's where you.
And it actually shows their picture if they use the soup, whatever, the like.
If they send you a heart, it's already unlocked, right? Because they paid to send that to you. So it's like the opposite, basically. It's like someone, you know, buying you a drink or something like that. It's like someone going out of their way to get your attention. You know, they don't want to just like you. They want to like send you a heart, so you get the pop up on your like by section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you mentioned a little bit too how partnership with like Salam Central. I found out about the app via Salam Central. So is this a partnership that like are you friends with the person who controls the page or?
Yeah. So yeah, we worked with like, Salam Central, and then when we expanded to Europe, we worked with Habesha Time, Habesha Scandinavia, like all these like social platforms. We found Instagram marketing to be the most effective in terms of creating content, brand content awareness, and then we start growing our own Instagram page. So if you look at our Instagram page, it's primarily to create brand awareness. It's not to give tutorials about the product or anything. It's just to create brand awareness, like the name recognition, because that matters with brands.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely like influencer marketing. That's how we grew it.
Yeah, and they even had like when the pandemic first hit, it was like on Instagram Live, like the matchmaking.
Matchmaking live, yeah, that was very
Yeah.
addictive. I hope it comes back.
It was pretty
Yeah, it
entertaining.
just sometimes I wonder if the app would have gotten that kind of traction had it not been for the strict lockdowns, because it's just, I don't know. I mean, I know it was a horrible pandemic, but at the same time, it's like it created this interesting products like this Zoom. Like nobody knew Zoom a year ago, and now it's like a household name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been interesting to see like things becoming normalized, right? Like it probably wouldn't be as normalized had it not been the lockdown. But because of the lockdown, we got used to doing things digitally. So
Yeah.
like, I've never been like a person who ordered food and stuff like online, but now I literally have all the apps like DoorDash, Uber Eats. So it's like
Yeah.
dating
So that
one.
makes sense. I know like
definitely.
I know like the younger generation, our generation, we're more so, open to online dating. But I do think like the pandemic has kind of forced the 35 plus crew to kind of be
Yeah,
like, okay, I can't date, so let me
I
get on
can't go to
Jebena
a
App, let me get
bar
on an
or
app.
cafe.
Definitely. I've seen some
Yeah.
uncles on there for sure.
Yeah, actually, you have no choice at that point. So.
Hey,
Yeah.
good for them. I mean, it's like everybody needs love, right?
Yep, exactly.
So what are your thoughts about sorry, it's pretty loud in Philly. What are your thoughts about like non-Habesha people on the app? Because I've seen those in there as well.
Yes, we've seen them.
Yeah, people message us sometimes saying like, "Hey, I'm not Habesha. Like, is it okay if I join?" Yeah, anyone can join, obviously, but we primarily market to the Habesha community. We're not gonna have like a race or ethnicity check for that, but if you market specifically to one community, like then majority of people are going to be from that community, but we're likely going to introduce some kind of country filter, a country of origin or nationality type of filter, just depending on how diverse the pool gets. But right now, it's 99% Habesha. So yeah, I've seen non-Habeshas too. Hey, if they love the culture and the community, why not? They're looking for the Habesha queens.
I know the men be getting mad when the West Africans be taking their women, so
I know.
I know,
they're
right?
on the app.
Competition is about to get very, very high right now.
Yeah. But I mean, you'd be surprised the amount of people that really love the Habesha culture.
Yeah, some people are honorary Habeshas, so like I've had a lot of those friends in college. So.
Yeah, I matched with this guy on Jebena, and he was like American, but he had spent a couple of years in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
He messaged me like, "Tefash." I was like,
"Oh, nice."
Don't
what
do
does that
that
mean for us non-Amharic speakers?
That means like you like, oh my god, why am I thinking in Hebrew right now? It's like you disappeared.
It's like, I don't know if you speak Tigrinya.
I speak Tigrinya, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Tafiyahi. Like
Oh, definitely, okay.
you've been stranger.
Yeah.
Do you speak Amharic and Tigrinya, Henok?
I've been learning Amharic more the past year because most of my close friends now are Ethiopians, but no, I grew up in Eritrea, so that's Tigrinya is like my default language, and then English, and then a little bit of Amharic. I can survive if I were to go to Ethiopia.
Oh yeah. So when did you come to? So you grew up in Adin, Eritrea, and then you went to Ohio.
Yeah. So Ohio, yeah, that's my American home state. Basically, went to like finished high school there and college, and then after college came to New York.
Nice.
Yeah,
What
and
a
in here is
journey.
I guess start learning like more Amharic. You'll be surprised. You notice how I mean, of course we know they're similar language, but it's
Mhm.
crazy how similar they are. They're basically different dialects of the same language. It
Yeah,
blows
I
my
watched.
mind.
I don't know if you watched 90 Day Fiance, but I watched 90 Day Fiance, and then when Binyam is speaking Amharic, I read the subtitles, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get most of that.
Yeah, exactly. You see those patterns and you're like, oh, wow.
Funny. 90 Day Fiance. We should have Jebena should have a show at some point, you know?
I know,
That
right?
would be
That show was so
matchmaking show.
addictive. My sister got me into that show, man. It
It's
was so much
good.
fun. Yeah, she made me watch it
Yeah.
before the guy joined, actually, before the Habsha guy, and I was just like,
Hmm.
this show is just so fascinating.
We're all
Yeah,
90 Day
it's
Fiance
so
household.
fascinating.
Sometimes I feel bad for them, but
I feel like it's like you're watching people that have maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'll cut it out actually. It's like watching people that have mental illnesses.
Holly,
You're
what's
like,
wrong with
what
you,
the
bro?
fuck?
it's entertaining, but
It's
there
like
were
all
some
of them
people.
on TLC be like, yo, you really be learning on the learning channel.
Yeah, you really feel bad for some of them. I'm like, oh no, I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing at this. And
Yeah.
Oh, okay, back to the topic. Thank you, Tali. Oh, I don't know if you're on Clubhouse, Henok, but there's been like a lot of like matchmaking on Clubhouse that were happening.
yeah,
You know, kind of people doing rooms. Have you like seen that or been a part of any of that?
no. Actually, a couple of friends and my sister mentioned that I like Clubhouse. It's relatively new to me. Well, I actually was on it when it was like in beta, but it was mostly just tech people on it.
Hmm.
But then once it became popular, then like people start doing creative things and Habeshas, they'd be having like game nights, trivia nights, and matchmaking nights. And we haven't tried it, but that's definitely worth a shot. So I don't know. Next time, like you see one of those rooms, you need to just like ping me or
I will ping
someone.
you. Yeah, yeah. It's interesting how they do it, but I think with the platform of Jebena, that's the perfect platform for you all to use.
Yeah, I'm loving Clubhouse. I've joined a couple of rooms. It's mostly been just niche stuff, like people talking about like real estate or something, or politics, yelling at each other. But I really do like the format because I like my friends know that I'm the person who sends a lot of voice messages. Like, so this, you know what
That's
I
how we
mean?
communicate.
Yeah, it's just like easier to just like so when I noticed the format, I was like, this is neat. This is neat.
That's all I send right now. I broke my wrist, so all I send are voice messages because it's hard for me to text.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely easier. But I mean, Tali, you're a voice messenger too. Like we don't really text.
Yeah, voice message or like
Hmm.
FaceTime.
Yeah.
I honestly hate texting, which I feel like I feel like that's why I fail at online dating. Sometimes it's just like replying to text, like
Yeah.
it's like texting all day, but you're texting so many people. It's like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Wait,
Yeah.
is there a talk to is there a voice memo
Oh, an audio message?
on Jebena?
No, there isn't.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe we'll look into that. But yeah, that would be super nice. It's just because some things are just easier to send in like 15 seconds audio than like
5
writing a
seconds.
paragraph.
Yeah, instead of like, yeah, exactly.
And also the tone, because with text you
Exactly.
kind of lose the tone of what someone means. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know I can't read Tigrinya, but like people like try to write out like Tigrinya words like using the English alphabet.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, it's sometimes I'm just like, what?
My
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah.
So it would just be so much easier if they could just like speak it and say if they want to, and then I could just hear it. But
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. I introduced my parents to audio message now. So on WhatsApp and on iMessage, they only send like with audio message and they love it. But they treat it like a
That's
voice
a good
message.
idea.
Like they treat it like a voicemail though. They be greeting me at the beginning. So
Oh my
hey Henok, how was your day? I hope you're doing fine. And I reply to them. And then in the reply back, they do another greeting like, so Henok, how was your day? How's everything?
That's
like,
like
hey, you
text
don't need to
messages though. Even with
so
text
formal.
messages, everything is like blase, hi, how are you? Blase, blase, blah. Okay, God bless. Have a good afternoon.
What?
It's like you're
So
tag.
wholesome. I like so
You-
formal, it's like introduction, conclusion. I love it.
Do your parents know that? Your parents know about the app, Jebena?
Yeah, they do, and surprisingly, they like it. And and actually, my dad, he be telling like his friends about it, right? So one time, he was talking to his one of his friends, right?
Mhm.
He has kids that are like our age. So he told him, he said like, hey, my son has a new dating app. You should tell your kids to try it or sign up on it. And I don't know what he heard, what the man heard. I don't know, he heard something dirty or something, right? So he was like, how dare you, my kids don't do things like that. And my dad was like, what did I say? He's like, I just said, it's for them, this is for them to meet up. It's like, no, how dare my kids never do things like that. They are nice kids. And that's like, okay, I'm sorry.
But why are Habesha parents like that? Like
He went from like 0 to 100, and my dad was like shook.
I told my parents about it yesterday, and they're like, "Oh, that's great. So when are you gonna find your man?" That was their response. They're like, "It's time for you to have a baby. You're getting old now." Like,
As soon as you graduate college, that's the new expectation.
literally, they're like, "You're almost 30." And I was like, "I haven't even turned
Yeah.
29. Like, let me live."
Yeah, let me live. Shit, so nice.
That's so funny.
Is there- Go ahead.
I don't know if you even are privy to information like that, but who are matching like the most, or like what's the age group on the app that is using the app the most, or like
Yeah.
most active? Not just like signups, but I guess like more like in there,
Yeah, it's actually pretty even. But there's like a cohort, so there's like the 18 to 23 type of people who most likely match and talk with each other, and then like if you were to graph it, it would be like you see like this spike, and then there's like a dip, and then there's like a spike, like mid-20s, late 30s, and then so it's like cohort of users that you see like interacting more with each other. You don't normally see like like someone who's like in their early 20s and like people in their 30s. So that's what we see when we're doing like analysis. Yeah, especially for female users, like you only see female users with like people like over, like not even younger than them, not even a single year younger than. For most females, it's like there's like a cut basically. It's like you only see them interact with like people older than them.
I will say, our friend who is in a relationship, he's younger than her.
Really?
Oh,
I didn't know that.
nice.
Yeah,
By how many years?
I think he's my age. So maybe like one or two.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Solid. That's interesting. So there's no like one group of like one age group that uses the app the most?
No. Well, so our app is like almost entirely like millennials. So
Okay.
you don't see like it's not, you don't see like a huge range of users. So it's mostly just people in their mid-20s and people like in their early 30s that you see on that. Yeah.
That makes sense. I feel like Gen Zers are definitely like they'll slide up in DMs, and kind of like interact on TikTok or something.
Yeah.
Get on apps maybe. I do feel like dating apps are definitely a millennial product. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're becoming like more and more normalized. That part I really like. There shouldn't be like a stigma, especially females using it, because I mean I'm old enough to remember like you were saying in 2012 2013, like college years, there was like a huge stigma with like dating apps, like an actual stigma like affecting people's lives, especially on female users.
Or like
But now it's
I'll tell your parents that we met at the grocery store or something
right,
and it's like, what is, it's not that serious.
or they hide the app and the app is like all the way at the end of their phone screen or something like that. So now it's like any of the other apps, and people literally use them publicly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never felt that shame. I guess I never felt shame.
Holly,
really.
you are a different beast though. You are a different person. You're not the average. You're not the
I
average
did
person.
not give a fuck. I was like, whatever, okay. Tinder is cool. Like, how easy is this? Like, I can stay at home and I don't have to go out to meet men. Crazy. It was like
Yeah,
a
that's
solution,
good.
not even like a weird. I don't know. I never thought it was weird.
Yeah, the first time I saw someone else that's not related to me or my friend use Jebena was there was like an Eritrean Independence Day party in Columbus like last May, right? So almost a year ago. And then it was like this barbecue place. And even though it was COVID, Ohio didn't get the memo at that time. People were still barbecuing. We didn't start wearing, how people didn't start wearing masks until like July. So
No.
they were like, because I flew from New York, right? So I flew from here like when the pandemic started, I moved to Ohio back to family. Completely different world. In here, we were already wearing masks in March and April. In there, they didn't get the memo. So there was a huge barbecue, and then there was this girl using Jebena. And then I was like, yo, I told my friend, I was like, yo, that's so cool. Like she's using Jebena. And then he told her, he's like, hey, he's like, the founder of it. And and she immediately she was excited. She was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then she immediately started giving me criticism. She's like, by the way, this part is shit. And she's like, and this part, what is this? I don't even understand. And this, oh my God, don't even get me started on this. And I was like, okay,
Yo, I love
let me take notes. I was like, I love her energy. She just went right into business. Because most people be like, they try to be like super nice to you, especially people they know you. They can't give you feedback, which I don't like. Like I like authentic feedback, right? I appreciate support, but give it to me straight. You just jumped into it, and I was like, wow, you're amazing.
I will say that's one thing with our community is that people are not scared to say how they feel. They will tell you.
I've noticed that too. That's one thing I like about our culture. It's like our customers right now are the most vocal. Like whenever something is wrong with it, like if they encounter an issue, they will let you know. And that's good. It keeps you on your toes, like it keeps you like, it makes you keep iterating the product. So yeah, I really do like that.
Y'all are pretty nice with it though too, because if somebody emails you, you'll be like, here's $5 for your account or something.
Yeah.
Or like,
have you emailed them, Tolly?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What'd you email them for?
I don't remember, but I did because I was pissed. I think it was probably one of those, like, why are you allowing me to match people who are younger than me? Like that shit pissed me off because it's like, yo, I paid for this and I'm using it on people who are 24. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
But you guys changed it, so I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel good for help.
Probably the biggest complaint.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because you never match with people who are younger than you when you're like on any other app,
Yeah.
Even if you pay like to see your likes, they never show anybody that's what your preferences are. So yeah.
Nice. I hope you got a response.
Yeah, it's a great app.
Yeah. So for like research purposes,
I did.
Yeah. What did you say?
So you got to. Oh, was that you, Tali, or is that me?
Go ahead, Johanna.
So like for research purposes and stuff, you talked a little bit about like the different apps. Did you guys like make like catfish profiles and like get on there and just kind of see how it works, or were you guys already like familiar with?
No, we have test accounts. But the test accounts are separate from like the real accounts of users. And also, I may not be a user, but like a lot of my close friends and my co-founders are actually like users of the app too.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have a list of beta users. So before we we release a feature to the mass market, we release it to those group of users, like 100 or 200 people, and they play with it for like a week or two. And then if everything is pretty cool, and then it gets released to the mass users. It's like there's like a control group, like a small control group. There's like a process for it. But initially, because we started developing it in the summer, right? So the first like 8 months or so, we had just dummy accounts, like test accounts. We didn't have users, right? But we want to mimic the behavior of a network. So we had bots that used to like interact with each other and stuff. But once we released it, then we had a different process for it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So is there anything that we missed in terms of like, the app, or what you created, your baby, or anything you didn't mention?
Yeah, it's definitely like a great project, like from a project perspective, but also like our primary mission is to connect the diaspora and to like bring people together. So even if we create one like family, that's like mission accomplished. Because sometimes like especially when you're a tech person or a software person, you get sucked into that software development world, and then you forget the real life impact. But whenever the users are sending us like, hey, I just met my girlfriend on Jebena, that's when you realize, you're like, oh wow, the code I wrote actually had like real life consequence. And in the future there will be like a family that met on Jebena. Like there will be kids whose parents met on Jebena. Like that's pretty amazing thing to think about. So it's definitely a community effort. Like it takes a village. So we have hundreds of people who are doing beta testing. We have people helping us with marketing, people helping us and the customers are the best, because like having close relationship with the users is how you improve it, because we can't come up with all the ideas. Like a lot of the great ideas on the app came from the users, them giving you like real-time feedback. So yeah, I just want to thank the users, because that relationship is like, to me, the most important, like the customer company relationship.
Yeah, and I don't think.
Go ahead.
I don't think we got this when we started, but can you talk about your partner and just
how did you guys connect?
Yeah, how'd you guys connect and work
Yeah,
that out?
we met up we met up online, and then we met up in person, at networking events, like Habesha networking events, and then we started working on this project. And the other person in Seattle, he learned about the app separately from like a college group. Like there was like a different college groups. I don't know if you're aware of like this engineering clubs like NESB and yeah, exactly. So
National Engineering Black Society or something, right?
Yeah, National Society of Black Engineers. Like they have conferences all over the country. So like that's one thing like I would encourage anyone to do, is just, you never know who you might meet up. You might meet up like your girlfriend partner, or you might meet up your business partner in the future. So just being like outgoing in those kinds of events definitely helps, because I literally met my girlfriend in a networking event, my co-founders and that kind of stuff. So yeah, and they're personal people, like private people, so I can't talk too much about
No, I feel that. I don't even use my last name, so I get that.
I wanted to say, in the Jewish culture, if you bring two people together and they get married, you have a place in heaven. So
really,
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
wow,
you're gonna be blessed.
Thank you. That's very nice. I didn't know that. Yeah, those messages just make my day. Like just seeing actual people like meeting up on it. I don't know, just amazing.
Well, we'll keep you updated with our friend group. We'll let you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're not. Yeah.
If the proposal happens, when?
Please do. Maybe we can share their stories anonymously. That's what we do with some people. We tell them like, hey, we're not gonna reveal your location or your name, just or not go too much into details. And listen.
You should just come up. You should just use stock photos, and then put
actors at the bottom.
Like a Habesha woman and a Habesha man.
Our community is too small for that, Tali. We know everybody. Like somebody.
No. You just use stock images of like Habesha people, with the
famous
crown. Yeah.
Nah, people fight that.
Or you.
Somebody knows somebody who knows somebody. That's not a real couple. No.
Yeah. Johanna, isn't that what's his name's daughter? Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
What happened?
Johanna, what's his name's daughter? You know how they be referring to us with our parents' names, like Johanna.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
They will know.
Yeah.
They see your last name and they know.